Hey guys, welcome back to My Colourful Country Life. Today I am really excited to share my Derwent Chromaflow skin tone colour combinations with you. Chromaflow pencils have a surprisingly strong range of colours that work beautifully for skin, and as you will see today, these combinations pull from across the full 150 set to create 6 beginner-friendly skin tone blends that are easy to layer. Just like my other combination videos, I will be swatching each combination in rectangles rather than using the little faces for skin tone combinations. And this keeps all of my combination worksheets consistent, and to be honest, my OCD is very happy about that. As usual with my skin tone videos, I have provided 6 different skin combinations. The remaining boxes on the worksheet are left blank, so you can either create your own custom skin tone blends or simply leave them empty, whatever works best for you. Now, if you do prefer practicing skin tones on faces, you can still download my Skin Combo Practice worksheet. Otherwise, today's Chromaflow skin combination sheet with the pencil names and numbers already filled in will be available on my Ko-fi page and linked in the description down below. So let's dive in and get started while I chat to you all today about colouring skin and how I apply these blends when colouring an actual portrait, because this method applies to every combination you're going to see today. When I'm colouring a portrait, I always start with the lightest colour as my base layer. The only exception is when white is included in the combination. In that case, I skip white at the start and use the next lightest colour as my base instead, but I will talk more about that in a moment. I work in very light layers, and I usually try to keep it to 2 main layers if I can. The first layer is all about placement. I work from light to dark using soft pressure just to map out where my shadows, my midtones and highlights are all going to sit. This is where I'm thinking about light source, contours of the face, and how far I want those shadows to come in. The second layer is where everything starts to come together. I work from dark back down to light, usually slightly firmer pressure to smooth transitions and start to blend that skin out. This dark to light part really helps soften the blends and avoids harsh lines. I really do try to get away with just 2 layers where possible, but if the skin needs more depth, I will absolutely add extra layers, and also the pencil brand I'm using may affect how many layers are necessary too. But if I do add more layers, I always start in the shadow areas and work back towards the highlights for each additional layer. So the first layer is the only one where I work from light to dark, and that's all about color placement, and then every subsequent layer I go from dark to light. Now, I do go into this process in much more detail in my How to Colour Skin video, where I break down colour placement, undertones, and also common beginner mistakes. So if you want a deeper explanation, I definitely recommend checking that one out, and I will pop the link in the eye above. For today though, the focus is on the colour combinations themselves and how these Chromaflow shades work together. With that in mind, let's go through each Chromaflow skin tone combination and talk about why these colours work together. Just so you know, for today's video, I am swatching these as a straight blend, so you can clearly see how the colours work together, but when you apply them to a portrait, that's where placement and layering will make all the difference. So this first combination we are working on is my neutral beige skin tone. This is a really safe and versatile combination, and it is great if you're unsure of undertone or if you're looking for a lighter, natural looking skin tone that's not pushing too warm or too cool. One thing to keep in mind with the combinations is to keep your pressure light, especially in the first layer. These colours work best when you build them up gradually rather than trying to get the depth in the skin tone straight away. This way you can control exactly how much depth you need for the portrait that you're working on. When I'm using this combination on a portrait, I am starting with Parmesan as my base colour, skipping white initially, and apply Parmesan softly over the entire face to establish an even base. That sounded really strange. Now all I'm thinking of is Parmesan cheese. I think I need a snack. Anyway, from there, I would introduce Salmon, followed by Ash Rose, and then Willow to start building up depth in the shadow areas. Willow will be my darkest shade in this combination, so I keep it mainly to areas like under the cheekbones, around the sides of the face, and under the chin. For the second layer, I work from dark back down to light, so starting with willow and blending back through ash rose and salmon, finishing again with parmesan. Now for the highlight areas, think the top of the cheekbones, between the brows, the tip of the nose, the center of the chin. I'm going to lightly burnish with white right at the end. So this helps keep those areas light. It also softens the parmesan into a more creamy natural finish and not too yellow toned. And this is a method I use for any of my skin tone combinations. Moving on to the next combination, which is actually my warm light skin tone. So you may have noticed that this combination has been mislabeled on my worksheet, and you will see me work that out in a moment and correct it on the worksheet along with the combination next to it. So this is my warm light and the next combination is my cool light. It has since been updated on the worksheet, so the version that you download will have the correct names. So this combination, which is actually the warm light combination, it's a lovely option for peachy or warm undertones for light skin, or for portraits in warmer lighting where you want the skin to feel soft and natural rather than overly pink. A good tip when working with a light skin tone that is on the warmer side, keep your pressure light so the warmth stays soft and doesn't tip to orange. So working in layers, you can work out how much of each color you need so you don't make anything too cool, so too pink based or too orange based. And then onto my cool light skin tone. This one is perfect if you want a lighter skin tone that leans cooler and rosier without looking washed out or grey. For this application, I would actually skip both the white and the rose pink initially and use ash rose as a very light base layer. Make sure to leave a highlight area where you can add in your rose pink when you are coming back down your second layer. Then you can burnish the rose pink areas with your white pencil. Always use the white pencil only to burnish the highlight areas if it is included in one of my combinations. Just remember to work in layers and build your foundation slowly. You can always add in more tones later on if needed. And now for my rich ebony skin tone. For this one, I do usually start with Ash Rose as my base, applying it lightly across the skin. This helps keep the undertone balanced before we start building depth. I do leave room to bring in Fell Mist later as my highlight shade and for gentle burnishing as well. Now, one really important thing to watch with this combination is when you use Fell Mist, make sure you've built up enough depth with your other colours first. If you go in too early or too heavily, Fell Mist can turn the skin ashy rather than highlighted. Now, if that ever happens, there are a couple of easy fixes. You could gently lift some colour off with a kneaded eraser and then reintroduce your midtones, or if there's still enough tooth on the paper, simply go back over the area with your deeper shades just to rebalance everything. And if you're colouring a very small area of skin, like a small face, hand, leg, etc., you can absolutely use this combo as a straight blend or any of the combinations that I show you in any of my skin tone combo series. And in that case, you can work from dark to light, overlapping your colours and burnishing as you go, or you can even do a single light layer from light to dark and then burnish back over with your base color at the end. So either way, whatever matches your coloring style will work. And this combination here really shines when you let the depth do the work and keep that highlight area soft with your Fell Mist. Moving across, this next combination is my warm deep skin tone. This one works really well for deep skin tones with golden or warm undertones. It is a great combination for when your portrait page is leaning into warmer lighting. So for this combination, I would use brown sugar as my base, applying it lightly across the skin. Peach Sand is going to be my highlight shade here, and I'm going to be using that very selectively in the areas that naturally catch the light. I'm also going to be using that colour for gentle burnishing once all the other colours are in place and I've already created my depth. So a good tip with warm base deep skin tones is to let the mid-tones do most of the work here. Keep your highlight colours subtle, that way the skin will stay rich and dimensional without looking overly bright. Last combination today is my cool deep skin tone. This is a great option for deeper skin tones with cooler or red leaning undertones. For this combo, I would start with Turkish Delight as my base color. It works beautifully underneath the deeper shades and helps keep everything cohesive as you're building up your layers. Now, one thing to watch with cooler skin tones is that they can sometimes start to look a little bit too pink. Now, if that happens, the simplest fix is to lightly layer in a beige or a neutral shade from your set to soften it back without losing the cool undertone. And depending on how light or how deep your skin tone is, you could use something like Parmesan, peach sand, brown sugar, all of them will mute that pink tone a little bit and soften it. If you are a bit more confident and you do want to experiment a little, you can also introduce a very small amount of a blue or a grey lavender tone. Now, I do talk more about these more advanced midtones in my How to Colour Skin for Beginners video. So you can have a look at that if you want to know how the adding in blues or lavenders or reds can elevate your skin tone combination. So this is more of an advanced adjustment, but used lightly, it can really help balance the pinkness on the page and create a more natural looking cool skin tone if you want to delve more into your skin tone combinations. And as always, just remember to keep your pressure light, add as many layers as you need to. There is no rule of thumb. I like to do 2. You can do as many as needed. And just make small adjustments as you go if needed as well. Okay, so there are my 6 Chromaflow skin tone color combinations. I really do hope you found this video helpful, and if you use any of these combinations in your coloring pages, please do tag me so I can see your beautiful work, or you can pop your pick up in the community tab. If you did enjoy this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up or hyping the video. Feel free to subscribe if you haven't already, and if you have found it helpful, sharing is always a lovely way to support the channel too. Thank you so much for watching. Happy coloring. I will talk to you all very soon, and bye for now.